Here we go. Okay, a couple days ago I asked everybody to write down a formula, and I wanted you to know what the words meant. If we look at our charts for NWEA, here's the difference that we can look at. If we solve a simple interest problem when they give us the formula, that's around a 230 score. If we can just find the simple interest without the formula, then you're at the 240s. To do problem number 2 right here without the formula is in the 250s. Okay? Now many of you in here range from 225 to all the way up to maybe possibly 240 on our map score for number sense. If we can do number 2, that's showing significant growth so far. So hopefully everybody gets number 1. And if we do number 2, that's just kind of like a bonus for us. Okay? So the formula is the same one that I gave you. I is equal to PRT. What's the I stand for? Interest. What's the P?
Principal.
What's the R?
Rate.
What's the T? Perfect. All right, now we need to talk about them a little bit so we understand. Because we don't know what that means unless we have a true definition. Okay? We can call it good principle and bad principle. Okay? Can I give you an example of each? And when you're ready to look up here, say I'm ready.
Ready.
I need all eyes right here. All eyes. Thank you. Here's good principle. Good principle is this example right here. If we deposit, we put in our own money. That's good principle. That means we're going to be earning interest. Our money is working for us. Okay? So what happens is this. In this case, Avery deposits $6,000 into a bank account. That money belongs to Avery. The bank is now going to use that $6,000 to loan out to other people. Okay? So the bank will say, in return, we will pay you an interest rate. And then when you want to take out the money, in some situations, depending on what you do, we will pay you for us using your money. Now the bad way that it works, and some kids, it's not necessarily bad because almost everyone has to do this. If you want to buy a new car, if you want to go to college, if you want to buy a house, many times we have to go to the bank and say, I need a loan. In that case, the principal is bad for us. Because not only do we have to pay off our principal, but the bank also says, since you're borrowing money from me, the bank, you also have to pay interest on the money that you owe. So if Jordan wants to buy a new car, it's $30,000. The bank says, here, Jordan, here's a check so you can buy this car today. Here's $30,000. Jordan pays for the car at the $30,000. Now for the next 5 years, Jordan has to pay off that $30,000. But it's not just $30,000 he's going to have to pay off. He also has to pay off the interest. So we're trying to figure out what that interest is. The total account value, or what your account is worth, is always principal plus interest. Make sense to everybody? Okay? So in this case, right now we don't know what the I is yet, but we do know that the principal is $6,000. Okay? And it says that it earns 4% simple interest. What is that 4% represented in this up here? Say again? R. 4% is the rate that we get. That's the interest rate. What's 4% as a decimal number?
0.4.
No, that's 40%. Yeah. 0.04. So if we take our principal and we multiply it by our rate, Now if we just figure out the time, we could figure out the interest term. But that's not what the question's going to say. And this is why this question's a 250 question. Because we have to figure out what the simple interest is. How long will it take for the account balance? What did I just tell you not too long ago? Account balance is equal to interest plus principal. How long until that reaches $6,800? We don't know what the interest is yet, but we know that we have $6,000 and we want it to equal $6,800. What does the I have to be? $800. So now we know that this is equal to 800. And it says how long? Long means time. And what does the T stand for? Time in what? Time in years. So I'm just going to put our unknown T right there. So we had to put those numbers in correctly to get this right. We had to understand that we want to gain $800 in simple interest. Our total account balance needs to be $6,800. So let's figure out how long it has to be in there. Here's one thing that you have to know for this problem. The commutative rule of multiplication. You ready for it? You can multiply in any order. Doesn't matter. You can multiply in any order that you want. So we can go 6,000 times 0.04 times t. What's 6,000? I need a calculator right now. 6,000 times 0.04, 4%. 240. Okay? So right now our equation will say 800 is equal to 240 times our time. Okay? So we want to figure out how much time that is. How do we get t by itself? Or how do we get this time, Eddie, all by itself? If we subtract 240, we can't subtract because we want to have one t. We have to divide. Okay? We always do the opposite thing they tell us to do the variable. In fact, what is 240 divided by 240, class? No, 240 divided by 240 is 1. What's 1 times t?
1t.
1t or just t, right? So we achieved our goal to get the variable by itself. Yay. Now we need to follow the golden rule in algebra. The golden rule says whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the... Now, many of you got to this point and said 840 divided by, or 800 divided by 240. And if you put that in, I believe you get 3.3 repeating. Is that correct? Put it into your calculator. Do 800 divided by 240. Okay, this says, now we could use this answer. We could say 3.3 repeating years. Many of you know that when we have 0.3 repeating, anybody know what fraction 0.3 repeating is?
Fraction?
That's the decimal number. Anybody know what fraction gives you 0.3 repeating? Close. It's, everybody take 1 and divide it by 3 and hit equals. 1 divided by 3 equals 0.3 repeating, right? Kids, that's a file save forever. 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. So we have 3 1/3 years. Now, if you want to get very specific, how much is 1/3 of a year? How many months are in a year? So what is 1/3 of 12?
4.
It's 4. What does that 4 represent? 4 months, not years, 4 months. So we would need 3 years and 4 months. Now remember how I said 250?
Yes.
You want to get a 250 score?
Yes.
They're going to ask you in years and months for this one. And you want to know what the answer choices will be? They'll say A, 3 years, 3 months. Because of this right here. They'll say B is 3 years, 4 months. They'll say C is 4 years, and D is 150 years. I don't know. Just maybe. So we need to understand what this 0.3 repeating represents. That 0.3 does not say months. That 0.3 is years. And we need to figure out what is 1/3 of a year. Because 0.3 repeating is 1/3. Makes sense to everybody. Okay? Now right now what you should do, give yourself a ranking for 6, 7. Where are you at? Next time you see this, it's going to be on your test, which will be on Wednesday. Okay?